Leah,
Yes.
you look gorgeous today.
Thank you. That was so kind.
Well, I'm practicing because tomorrow's Random Acts of Kindest Day.
What?
To tell us a little bit more, we have Ryan Ennis with us on the CoastLife couch. Ryan, thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. This is really incredible. I can't wait to talk to you more about this. Do you care sharing a little bit of your story with us? And you mentioned some things with your family and your job as a life coach. Can you just kind of dive into that a little bit?
Sure. Back in 2020, I had spent the last couple of years kind of reading all the self-help books and doing like the radical years of self-auditing and self-growth and all that stuff and drinking the Kool-Aid, so that I decided in 2020 I was going to start my own business. I was going to start my own health and wellness coaching company for people that worked in the restaurant industry. I had been a bartender and a personal trainer for years. Wanted to bridge the gap together. And that was the idea. Right, so burn the boats, leave everything else behind, start the business, and then 2020 hit. 3 months later, COVID hit, right? So that didn't pan out as well as I would have liked it to, because restaurants also shut down at that time.
Yeah.
However, life had different plans for us. So my wife and I actually really loved COVID during that time. We were introverts. We found out we were really introverted, actually. And we ended up having our son, completely unplanned, but the greatest surprise we ever thought we would have. And that sort of spiraled into a number of things where we're like, okay, we got to get serious about our lives. We got to buy a house, got to do these things, right? So in the process of buying our house, there was this long span of time. We started to renovate it, and my body was just falling apart in the process. I thought it was stress. Turns out it wasn't. As we're going through the process, my wife and my wife did everything she possibly could to assure a very healthy pregnancy. We get to the hospital, we're excited for the best day of our lives, and it ended up being one of the hardest days of our lives. My son suffered a very traumatic birth, and we were told 3 days after, horrible complications, no brain activity besides seizures, that we would have to make the decision to either have a son that was going to be so severely disabled that his quality of life would not be worth living, or not having a son at all. So we didn't really have any other choice other than to lean on our faith, and we reached out to social media and asked for a miracle, basically. And that's what we got. So 10 days later, he is healed. Now he's almost 2.5 years old, runs circles around me.
Oh my gosh.
He's a miracle in every sense of the word.
Yes.
And but it was kind of like God said at that time, listen, I've shown you that I could do the impossible, because what's coming next is going to be even harder. So we found out about a month after we got home from the hospital that I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic lung cancer. The leading cause of death among all cancers, even though I'm non-smoker, I like to add, but it's still just one of those things where it had to not make sense in order for me to continually move forward in the way of thinking of, like, you know what, let's take this adversity and turn it into an advantage, you know? So that is sort of where we decided, our community just rallied around us in every way possible through all of that. And I think that's where the sort of, I guess, my attitude through it all, my family's attitude, it started to rub off on people. And I think that that's where they saw that this positivity can still spread kindness in the face of adversity, no matter what you're going through. And that's what took off. So a friend of mine, he reached out, said, we love what you're doing in this community. We were still doing a lot of fundraising, and lo and behold, that's how Random Act of Kindest Day basically started. And they wanted to name it after me and my family, which was just a huge honor for Delaware.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
And it's actually something that I truly believe myself, that I think the one thing that we always have to give, especially when times are really hard, is kindness. That's the one thing we can always control, being kind to others, whether it's buying someone's coffee or holding the door. Something small or a large act of kindness. It's something that we can always control in our daily lives when it feels like everything else is spinning out. So how can people, again, maybe it's something small, maybe it's something large, how can people participate in Random Acts of Kindest Day?
Sure. So we did 7 days of kindness last year to try and give people a good idea. You can follow me on Facebook at Red Ryan, or Instagram at Ryan Ennis Motivator. I'm going to put up a bunch of different ideas and things like that today to reshare them. But some of the biggest things are just leaving a positive note on people's cars, on the gas pump, you know, just you got this, keep going, a strong word of thing. But just things like you said, buying somebody coffee, holding the door, being able to go out of your way if you know that there's someone in your community that's struggling. Go and mow their lawn, go and take care of things around their house.
The neighborly
you know.
things.
Yeah.
Neighborly.
Things
Yep.
that we get caught up in daily life we forget to do, I think. Yeah.
That's the biggest part of it. We get so stuck in autopilot and going through the motions and being in a hurry everywhere that we never stop to be present,
Right.
True.
to make moments matter, right? And that's what life is all about.
Definitely. So don't forget, it's tomorrow is Random Acts of Kindness Day. You have a little bit longer to prepare.
Yes.
If you don't feel ready to think about what you're going to do. And Ryan, I just want to really thank you for sharing your story. I know it's not easy, but you really represent so much of what we love about the Delmarva Coast, you know, community and strength. And I think your story today is going to motivate a lot of people and inspire them.
That's great.
So thank you for being here.
Thank
do
you
you
so much.
know what you're going to do tomorrow for your Random Acts of Kindness Day? Or is it a
do.
surprise?
Well, the biggest part, and I will just end with that.
Okay.
The biggest part about this Random Act of Kindness Day that I ask is that you don't ask for recognition or reciprocity, right? So you do it and don't go and tell everybody about what you're doing. Just do the act of kindness. Don't shove, you know, a bunch of microphones.
Look what I did.
Yep, exactly.
I'm so kind.
Yes, yeah.
Vlog
That
it.
false humility, you know,
Yes.
it's like, oh my gosh. So that's really what we want to do is just spread the act of kindness in any way you can, no matter how small it is. Just go about your day.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Sounds great. So yours will stay a surprise, but if you see Ryan, let us know if he did something nice for you. Yeah. We'll try to spread it here too. Well, Ryan, thank you again for being here. Tomorrow, Random Acts of Kindness Day. Let us know what you're doing if you're not feeling that humble about yourself. Yes. We want to know how you're spreading kindness.
We'll acknowledge your
Yeah.
random acts of
We'll
kindness.
celebrate you, exactly. All right, hey, don't go anywhere right now, though. We have some more Coast Life on the way that you just don't want to miss.